guess we kind of, over the years, became travel junkies. I guess we're addicted to new places and new sceneries and some kind of adventure. So life on the road is perfect for us because we get to have a little, like somewhat of a house or like a little tiny little space that's ours with some of our stuff. And we get to travel at the same time. So it's a great mix of both.
When you travel all the time and you're on the road all the time, like we've been pretty much traveling straight for 2.5 years. Aside from like a 6-month stop at home, we've been on the road, either living out of backpacks or just moving around. That can get really tiring, and like sometimes you do want to have a little bit of stability or a little bit of comfort and like have some of your own things around you. One of the things that I like about this is that we can be traveling but have our own, like sleep in our own bed every night, which is kind of cool.
And you get some comfort.
Yeah, you get a little bit of comfort. Yeah. And then you can have like some of your books, which you maybe wouldn't like travel with if you're backpacking because it's just too heavy to carry them, or some of your music instruments. And then also I like having a kitchen because we like to eat really well and we travel on a budget, so we can't always eat out at restaurants. So it's kind of cool to be able to cook your own food wherever you are and sleep wherever you are and work wherever you are and basically just like bring your life with you like a turtle or a snail or something. Yeah. When we quit our jobs a couple years ago, it wasn't a sudden decision. Matt had a crazy car accident that sort of threw us for a loop.
It was a really intense car accident. 2 people died in the other cars. It right away made us think, okay, what are we doing with our lives?
We felt like a lack of control, like we realized anything can happen. We felt this need after that to control our situation, make ourselves feel safe. So we thought, let's lock it down and buy a house, and then we'll own something and we'll be planning for our future and making sure that we're safe and everything. So we did it and we bought the house. Hi guys, there's Matt. He's gonna play us a little song. We just had the piano tuned. We've got all the sculptures up. Carpet. We just bought blinds, but I don't know if we're keeping them. We're crazy pack rats, believe it or not. We also bought a crazy TV because Matt had a bunch of points on his credit cards. In a 1.5 years, we accumulated a lot of stuff. So we were like really settled. So we put the map of the world up there. And we've got the towers there.
When you have a house, you're spending a lot of time working for it.
This is it all set up.
And working on it. So you're spending a lot of your time working for the future because eventually you'll have it paid off.
This is Matt's office, which is...
It just didn't make sense to us that we would have to work for 35 years full time to pay for this house.
And then if we go upstairs, Matt put one of his paintings here.
That we would only own in 35 years and on which we would still have taxes and maintenance to do, and it just didn't make sense.
This is our bedroom. So we decided to sell it. Well, Matt convinced me one day. I think I came home from work crying because I was so stressed out. And so we decided like, okay, that's enough. We're going to do something bonkers and we're going to sell this house. So today's Sunday. We just put a bunch of stuff out there for free. We've decided to start giving all of our belongings away. Started piling up some things that we're going to donate or give to friends in the living room.
When we decided to sell the house and get rid of everything, I would walk through the whole house and just actually look at what was in each room. And I would get super anxious, and I thought, we'll never be able to empty out this house. Mm-hmm. It's out of control. It's a nightmare.
Sometimes I would like the stuff to just disappear, and then I wouldn't have to make the decision of keeping it or not.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, eh?
It's hard to make the decision.
You just have to be ruthless, I think.
Ruthless?
Yeah. Just whip it in the garbage.
So much stuff.
You just start by like throwing out garbage and like getting rid of junk you don't need. And then you start giving things away as gifts, and then you start donating things, and then slowly you get into it. It's a bit addictive. You go home and then you start seeing like, oh, I don't need that anymore, and I can just get rid of it. And I don't think we miss anything.
It's unbelievable to think that out of all that stuff, I missed nothing.
Our little rabbit.
Oh, poor little rabbit.
Poor little bunny. Oh, I miss the rabbit. Our rabbit was really cute.
But he doesn't count as stuff.
No, don't feed him the boarding pen.
Just a little bite.
My parents' house actually burned down the year that I moved out of the house to go away to university. They lost everything. When the firefighters showed up and our house is like in flames and there's flames shooting out all the windows and stuff, they basically ask where 4 things are. They say, is there anyone in the house? Do you have any pets? Where are your photos? And do you have any artwork that you want us to save? And the fact that they're like trained to ask people those questions, to me it shows that obviously anything that's alive is more important than any stuff, and that memories are more important, and that's it. And those firefighters will risk their lives to go and save people and things, but they're not going to risk their lives to go save a sofa. To me, that just shows that there's not that much in life that's really essential, and the fact that people spend so much time and so much money accumulating them and buying them and worrying about them and taking care of them, I don't want to be harsh, but it seems like a waste of time. Life is so short, and it's so amazing if you just go out and live it and don't worry about all this other stuff. It's July 11th. Matt's checking out his passport to see if it's still valid, because we're 3 weeks into the plan to sell everything we own, including this house, and take off on a crazy adventure. And today we just signed a contract with a real estate agent. It sold like the first weekend, so we decided let's take some time off and give ourselves this like gift.
All right, I'm going to give you a little tour of our nice camper van / home. So it's about 19 feet long, so it's pretty short for a cargo van, I guess. I'm going to give you a little look at the kitchen to start with. We built a little drop leaf table, which comes really handy. We put a piece of wood on hinges here and screwed this into the panel on the door. And then we put 2 triangle on hinges. Very easy to make, very cheap, and it really comes in handy in the kitchen. And this is, we put our dish rags, a can opener, utensils, and other kitchen items, soap. And here we have curtains for the windows. So here we got our stove. It's just a simple little propane stove that we can set up on the table here. And here we got our cooler, which is like where we store most of our food. We don't have any refrigerated food, so we just try to find food items that don't need refrigeration. And there's actually a lot of them if you do the research. So that's it. That's pretty much our kitchen station. This is also part of the washroom area. We store our toothbrush, our deodorant, and other toiletries. So the washroom, as you can tell, is also in the kitchen. This is our toilet. So this is where we pee. Well, that's pretty much all that happens in here. It's just pee. And this is toilet paper, a funnel for the ladies, or for the lady. So we usually close all the curtains when we're using this, and Danielle awkwardly crouches into some kind of yoga contortion pose and uses this contraption here. Why we bought this particular van. We didn't want a minivan because we thought it would be too small and cramped. And we didn't want to get a camper because we couldn't afford a nice one. So we did like some modifications, but very simple stuff. Yeah. And very cheap stuff. Danielle also made these. For getting privacy, they're pretty much flush with the ceiling, and they go all the way down here and they join up in the middle, so they close up the driving compartment really well. And when everything's closed, it's actually really private and really cozy in here.
Sometimes, like when we first bought it, we would just sit in the van late in the night. We were staying with Matt's parents at the time, and they would just, they thought we were crazy, but we would just like sit in the van until like midnight or 1 a.m. and just like picture what we were going to do and where we were going to go.
Testing it out.
Yeah, testing everything
good.
out. It was really fun.
I just thought it was better to buy something like this because camper vans that are already camper vans are usually much more expensive, and we were able to get something that's newer and in better condition by buying this. And it's a little bit low profile, like.
Yeah, it's a bit stealthier for what we're going to be doing, right? Because we're not really planning to stay in a lot of campgrounds. We're going to be hopefully doing a lot of stealth camping and then staying in Walmart parking lots, but we still don't want to show up in like a big RV.
All right.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Right here? No. Right here? This could work. Wow, that was fast. In general, it's not too hard to find a place to sleep.
Yeah, I
if
think
you're smart about it and you take your time.
Yeah, you just have to take your time. Like, you can't just picture that every night you're just going to find this perfect spot. Because, first of all, you're not supposed to go to the same spot more than once.
Yeah.
Because you don't want people to start noticing you.
Like right here is probably fine.
But someone can see right there.
Oh yeah. Still not a bad spot. You don't feel good about this one?
No, it feels too open.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, keep driving.
You also want to be safe, so you don't want to be like too like off the beaten path, because then like if something weird happens, you're kind of out on your own. But then if you're in a really populated area, maybe people are going to notice you're sleeping in your van. And since it's illegal in a lot of places to sleep in your vehicle.
Yeah, it's just close
Where we
to.
parked last night?
I think it's where we parked last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't like that spot. And right here, it's like there's not enough cars, I find.
It's just a balance. We've realized you just need to give yourself like a good half hour, maybe even an hour sometimes if you're in a really busy city on a weekend. And just know that just put on some good music and drive around and look for a good spot. Just be okay with like if someone wakes you up and has to kick you out, like it hasn't happened to us. It probably will at some point because we're going to do a lot of stealth camping this summer, but just be polite and just move on and find a better place to sleep, I guess.
I guess last night's spot was perfect, eh? Isn't this last night's spot?
No.
No?
Are we going to hit that tree?
You're gonna hit the curb. And the tree.
What about right here? It's right in front of the bush.
It's not bad.
We had this romantic notion about living in a van that we were basically just gonna like need enough money to fill up the tank and that was it. Be able to go wherever we wanted, and we had this like extreme budget in mind. We're like, what if we can live off $400 a month for food and all of our expenses, and then just like have a couple $100 for gas? And we could do this for the rest of our lives. It would be crazy. And then we bought the van and we realized it's actually a bit more expensive.
I think this lifestyle is pretty cost effective. We figured out that it's about like renting a really cheap apartment in a city, like downtown in a city. So for us, it's a really good deal because we get to live a mobile life. We get to like have all sorts of adventures and stuff for quite cheap. But it's not free. I mean, there's still costs to this kind of lifestyle.
Just to give you an idea, like some of our expenses right now, we're spending $100 on our car insurance. Then we obviously have our license plate registration and our driver's licenses. When we're outside of Canada, we have to pay travel insurance, so that's $100 every month altogether for both of us. We have our repairs, so we budget about $200 a month, and we kind of accumulate that. If we don't spend it one month, we save it for the next month because
It's a vehicle, so it will come up.
the only thing that we have a problem with, really, is food. Like, we can never say no to ourselves in the grocery store because for us, like, being healthy is important, especially if you're on the road.
We splurge pretty much every time we go to a grocery store.
Yeah, so food is definitely our biggest expense, I think.
Yeah.
Gotta have that olive oil.
And the gas, that obviously varies depending on the gas prices and how far we're going and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we're budgeting about like $200 a month.
Yeah, that's
So-
if we drive a lot.
If we drive a lot, yeah. So overall, like including our food and everything, I think we're gonna live in the van pretty comfortably spending between $1,200 and $1,500 a month.
There's a lot of cars, eh?
Yeah, this place is crazy.
It's kind of funny. I always picture like stuff like this being a bit obscure and like who would want to go see roses, but I guess a lot of people do.
For two people to be able to work and travel and live for that amount
It's
is like
amazing, yeah.
it is amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people often ask us like, did you guys win the lottery? Like, how can you afford to do this? Well, we're working now and we're living a really cost-effective lifestyle, and we are really careful with our expenses so that we can have this freedom.
Aren't you supposed to leave it like the heat off for a few minutes?
Yeah.
For us, like, this freedom is so important that we'd rather pretty much sacrifice any spending that we do or any item.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, if we look at almost anything, we're just like, we would rather be able to have another day on the road rather than have this thing.
I guess we don't need this that often. Yeah, that's real nice.
So we had a little like nest egg and we took a year off and we didn't work the whole time and we just traveled and it was amazing. We were so spoiled and we had this great time, and then when we got back we were like, oh my gosh, imagine if we could find a job that we could do from anywhere so that we could work and continue traveling. Just a couple months later, one of my friends her and her husband started an online store. And they were like, hey, we just had to let someone go. Are you looking for work? And I was like, yes, I will work for you, because I knew that all of their employees could work from wherever they were. So as soon as we got that job, we started planning to travel. And basically all we do is, like, I have my laptop. Matt did a lot of research and found this mobile hotspot device. And you did a lot of other research too to find solar panels. And so we'll be able to just like work from anywhere, hopefully. So yeah, basically I just need my laptop and an internet connection. I definitely feel like having the internet and Wi-Fi has made it a lot easier for us to travel and work, and it sort of broke that cycle where like traveling used to be you have to save up and spend a lot of time working your butt off, and then you get to travel, and then you have to go home and work and then travel. And now I feel like a lot more people are able to earn their living as they go. And for Matt, with his art, a lot of Matt's work is the initial proposal writing, grant writing. There's a lot of like applications to do. And then there's a lot of work to make the art and stuff too, right? So all that can sort of be done from wherever.
Yeah, now that I switched to watercolor and drawing, I can bring I have pretty much a mobile studio in a little box. So I also brought, these are my art supplies. So as you can see, there's really not much here. Again, it's because I'm doing watercolor right now, which is really, really portable. It's one of the best mediums for traveling, I think. And then the rest of the stuff is I get some contracts to editing video or doing graphic design or selling art, and it's all mobile, so I can do it
Yeah.
online from wherever.
So yeah, I do feel like it's more feasible for more people to work on the road, which is probably why we're seeing so many different types of nomads, like people living in their vans or people living in tiny homes on wheels or people living out of backpacks. So it's a really exciting time. And if
Oh, yeah.
and if you can set up your life to have the freedom to move around, then I feel like working online will like allow you to continue to travel. When we started doing this lifestyle, a lot of people thought we had won the lottery, and it's actually the opposite. Because like when we had our house, we were always buying lottery tickets and trying to win the lottery so we could do all the things we wanted. And we actually realized it's actually like a reverse lottery, and the more you give up, the more you get. And so we feel like we have a richer life now than we ever have before, and we're living with so much less. We're earning less money, we own less stuff, we buy less things, we shop less.
That's our closet, I guess. We started off by having all our clothes in pack sacks, but it was pretty annoying to go get in and out of there all the time. So here we just each have a bag. So that's my stuff, that's Danielle's stuff, so just each a cloth bag. And then that's a third cloth bag with the dirty laundry. So pretty easy.
Okay, so this is what my wardrobe looks like unpacked and out of the backpack. It's kind of funny that I have all these clothes with me because I almost never wear most of them. Usually what I do is I find an outfit that I really love and I put it together and then I ended up wearing it every single day. So these clothes are usually just in the backpack and then I pull them out when I'm doing laundry and I can't wear my favorite outfit.
I travel around with only this. It's awesome to travel light like this. The first time I went on the trip, I had a backpack that was almost my size, and I used like a quarter of what was in there.
The more we give up, the more we get.
Well, the more we give up, the more time we get.
Yeah, and time is so special. Our lives have changed a lot since we became nomadic. We've had a lot more free time and energy to work on some creative projects. Like Matt's been doing a lot more art and I've been writing, which is something I've always wanted to do. So another thing, Matt's a musician and I want to be a writer. So I've got a lot of books with me, some grammar books, so that I can get better at writing. And then I have kept a journal since I was like 14 years old.
We've been more inspired, I guess, for you to write more and
Yeah.
to make more art, I think.
More inspired and more energy. Like when we had our jobs and we were both working and then fixing up the house all the time and stuff, it was draining. And at the end of the day, we would just come home and be like, we're just gonna watch some movies and not do anything. And now we just have more energy to do fun stuff, which is cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Living in a small space has made us realize that life is not necessarily only happening in your home. There's a whole world around us, and if you make your house too big or too comfortable, you're going to miss out on what's going on outside of it. And one thing we've noticed by living in our small apartment and living in our van and living out of backpacks is that it forces us to go outside, and then you end up meeting people or doing fun things or just getting some fresh air and some exercise. This is so funny because I feel like it makes me want to go on a trip right this second. You know?
We don't think that everyone who owns a house is wrong or crazy and that they're not doing the right thing. Some people I know some people who own homes and they absolutely love it. They like working on the house and maintaining it and they like that lifestyle. And I think if you like owning a big home and you're comfortable in it, that's great. We're not putting down anyone's idea of life and home. These are just personal preferences.
That's so nice. I love going to parks like this when we're in a city.
We know there's a lot of other people out there, but I guess when you're the minority, you can often just feel alone. So you sort of need to like speak out and say like, well, we're not doing this and this is why we like it. And then other people who are maybe not having a good time trying to do the big house thing can know that it's possible to be happy doing something else.
Maybe I could do, because I did like the 5 things that we really like about being nomadic. And maybe I could do like the 5 challenges, especially because of the road trip we just did. We can talk about like, oh, going to the bathroom.
Yeah, realistic.
Like a reality check kind of thing.
We actually started exploring alternatives, which is the blog, and we started a YouTube channel.
People were asking us, how are you guys able to just fly all over the place and have all these cool experiences? Like, are you loaded? What's going on? And we realized they have no idea that we're doing this on like a really small budget. And it's all because we've like simplified our lives.
I guess I'm really worried that people are going to be like watching our videos and then think like, I'll just go all in without even trying it and then make some big decision and then they're going to hate it. So I just want to caution people, like, try stuff, because just because it looks cool on YouTube
video
doesn't mean it's right for you. You got to try it, because like,
I mean, we're not perfect either. We're not like Zen monks who are just always like super focused. Like, we still have hard times. We still get stressed out. This lifestyle is not perfect.
No.
But the payoff and the benefit of living this lifestyle is so much better than what you get when you're just like working to pay for things. The memories we've made and with what we're doing and the time we've spent, we're always going to have that. And so I would have rather spent my time creating those memories than buying something that's maybe going to break or fall apart or that I'm not going to care about.
oh yeah, they're really pretty.
I just really like the freedom of being able to explore new things. And like, if we have an idea, we have the freedom to do it. So if we want to move on to a boat now, we don't have anything stopping us except the fact that we don't own a boat and we don't know how to sail one.
We're at Double J's Peach Farm. Matt's picking some peaches.
It's just liberating to not have all that stuff and all those responsibilities, because it frees us up to be able to do things that we're actually really interested in.
No?
And I think a lot of people sort of like repress the things that they're interested in, or they think it's impossible for them that they'll ever be able to do them.
And we're on Lambourne Mesa right now.
And that's just not true. You just are being held back by the things that are like taking up all your time and your energy.
Or by the things that you think you absolutely need. Like when we had, for example, when we had cell phones a few years ago, we both thought, oh, I can't live without this anymore. Like, this is now a necessity. And when we got rid of them, it was kind of hard for, I don't know, a couple of weeks. And now we haven't had cell phones for years. And it's
For 3 years
For 3
now.
years, yeah. And it's totally normal. And we never think about it. And we've probably saved thousands and thousands of dollars.
Okay, so where's Spam? So like, we're here. So if we went all the way, so we would go here first.
There's a lot of little things like that. And when you live without a couple of things like that, then it opens up space for experiences.
Oh, I thought it was right up there.
And one of the cool things about trying new stuff like that is that you can always, or almost always, go back to what you were doing before. So like, we gave up our cell phones knowing, okay, if we freak out next week and we feel totally naked and vulnerable without our cell phones, we'll just go get another cell phone and sign up again. Or like, if we miss having our house, we'll just buy another house. But the thing that's really crazy is like, every time we give something up, we end up getting so much more in return. We never want to go back to that thing.
I think that human beings are pretty complex creatures. There's a part of us that wants security and routine, and then there's a part of us that wants adventure and new things. And I think we're conflicted by those wants. We can easily get like caught into one or the other. And sometimes because of fear of change, we'll stay in one or the other.
And sometimes we want opposing things at the same time. Like even though we do sometimes like stability and we like to sleep in our own bed and have our own plates or whatever, it was preventing us from doing the other one. The cool thing with this life is that we can choose to have stability. Like right now we're house sitting for 5 months, but then we still have the flexibility to go and travel and drop everything. The cool thing about being nomadic is that you're always flexible to do whatever you feel like you need to do. And maybe some people are unhappy not because the situation's wrong for them, but because it's preventing them from doing multiple things. I feel like there's a lot of people our age right now who are choosing to live their lives a little bit differently than what is sort of expected of us. We always picture it on this timeline, and it's like, okay, you go to school, and then you find a partner, you have a baby, you get a house, you get your job, then you retire, and then you live the rest of your days being happy and retired, and everything works out fine. But for a lot of people, it doesn't work out fine. Not everyone's able to do all those things, and I feel like that's not the only way that people can be happy. And actually, maybe sometimes that's not even a good way to be happy at all for some people.
I think in theory, a lot of people could do what we're doing here, but maybe in practice it's a little trickier than it seems to be. I guess you have to put up with like a certain amount of discomfort and like uncertainty and surprise, and it's probably not something that everyone is up for putting up with on a daily basis.
Everyone's different, right? And everyone has their own different like needs and things that they need to happen every day. And some people, they need to go home and know where they're going to sleep or know where they're going to be or know where their next paycheck is going to come from. And then there are other people who are just totally wild and they just travel with like almost nothing. And I feel like we're kind of in the middle. For us, the idea of just like having the same job for 30 years just to save up for retirement, it just freaks us right out because we can't even plan 1 year in advance. So the idea of doing something for that long, it just seems crazy. There's so many things that we want to do and life is so short and we just can't commit to that kind of thing. Sometimes we get a bit worried about not planning for retirement. So we'll probably do something like invest in a piece of land one day so that we have something.
Here we store a tarp and a solar shower. This is really, really basic and simple. Apparently it can even get hot enough to burn you. You just put water in here, just put it in the sun for a couple hours and it gets really hot. But it also feels very strange to put too much energy and time and money into planning for your future, for your retirement. Like right now when you're young and healthy and able to do the things you like.
This hill?
Yeah.
It's pretty big. I think we're going to get a crazy view. You only have a certain amount of disposable time and disposable income in your life, and obviously you have to cover your basic needs. And then after that, it seems like you can either choose to do things that you love and invest your time and money in those things, or you can choose to invest your time and money in retirement. And for us, like, we'd rather invest in our present.
Because we're here now, we exist now.
Yeah.
But the future doesn't exist. And there's no guarantee that it will. So yeah, it's very hard to put all our eggs in that future basket.
We'll find a balance one day.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put like 10 eggs in the present basket and 2 in the future one, instead of all the eggs in the future basket. this is a little bit crazy, but we've talked about the idea of like living on a sailboat in the winter down south, like in the Florida Keys or in the Bahamas or something, and then living out of our van in the summer and road tripping around Canada and visiting all our friends and family. So, like if I had to pick a perfect setup, it would probably be something like that.
That would be good.
If you take the time to plan your life, you can create something amazing.
How's that?
That looks really good.